Sheen is best known for his memorable film roles in Apocalypse Now and Badlands. He is currently starring on Broadway in The Crucible. It's the first production for the National Actors Theater, and recently he made his directorial debut with the movie Cadence, starring much of his own family. It's a pleasure to have him on this broadcast to talk about a number of things, including the National Actors Theater. But first, you listened to some of the conversation we had about the film JFK.
Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't seen the film.
No, I haven't. I know that Oliver asked me to do the voiceover for the opening 60 or 70 seconds, which I did. I haven't had a chance to see it. Yeah. But I'm delighted that it's kicked up the dust around this.
Does it resonate with you? I mean, the ideas that are being kicked around, this notion of a conspiracy, notion of a coup d'etat,
sure.
notion that the government lies to you. I mean,
look, we knew it the day it happened, you know, that it was a military coup. It had to be. No
you
one
really
else
think
could
so?
prove. They were trying to say, well, it was not a political killing. Well, what did JFK do for a living? You know, he wasn't a shoeshine boy. He was the president of the United States. Yeah. He was a politician. You know, so it involved a lot more than what we were told. Yeah. And the fact that the Zapruder film was edited, you know, we never saw the head hit until the congressional investigation.
That's because Life magazine, Zapruder,
so who was Life magazine working for?
Zapruder would not allow the family, when he sold it, would not allow Life magazine, as I understand it, would not allow Life magazine to show it as a motion picture. That was his condition to selling it.
I think the FBI had it before Life magazine, and I think they're the ones that took it out.
I
don't think anyone saw the hit. I don't think Life magazine saw it until after it was put back in, after the congressional investigation. When you see the head hit, you know, and I've seen it in rotoscope, you know, it's just like
which is a big
Hollywood close-up of JFK. There's no question.
No question what?
He was hit from the front.
Is that right?
Absolutely. He was lifted up and thrown back, and his head was peeled back. You know, the head hit was definitely from the front.
What's the emotional impact of seeing the Zapruder film that way?
You know, it's, you don't see it until you see that footage, you know. And that was clipped out for how many years, you know? We never saw it. Yeah.
Was there a point, where does this sort of distrust of government come from within you?
You know, it is never...
And distrust of politics.
Well, you know, there was a mention here that we were an innocent country before November 22nd, '63. That's far from the point. We were the first country in the world to drop the atomic bomb on human beings, you know, and we still haven't apologized for it. And we're still lying about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've been doing first-rate killing for decades and decades. You know, our innocence is not begun in '63.
Yeah.
No,
is there anger about this within you? I mean, a sense of anger at your government? For
I don't feel it's my government. It doesn't represent the people. I don't think it represents any of the American people. No, I don't think so. I think it is a shadow government, and I think that there is a hidden agenda, you know. George Bush, you know, sends troops into Panama, kills 3,000 innocent Panamanians. They're poor, they're black, nobody to speak for them with the exception of Ramsey Clark in Panama. And then we go into Kuwait a little over a year later, and we kill all those people there. And where's the moral ascendancy?
Okay, but let me ask a couple of questions about that, because we'll get to the National Theater and the Crucible. But about Panama, I mean, the ostensible reason to go in there was to take Noriega out, and people were killed. 3,000 people, Panamanians, poor Panamanians were, in fact, you know, whatever the number is. Some
about
controversy of what the number is. But I mean, are you saying what, that we had no business going in to get Noriega, regardless of what he had done, because it was a sovereign country and we had no business in invading? And are you sending more?
I think we've got a whole lot better ways and more inventive and more imaginative ways to remove
take
people.
Out one person.
Yeah, you could take out one person.
So therefore what? Therefore that we wanted to go in and kill poor people?
I think they wanted to control Panama, which is what they're still doing.
Yeah. And the war in the Persian Gulf War, which you know, had some fault with some of your liberal friends in the Hollywood community, because they didn't...
friends. I opposed it. I still oppose it. There's still between almost 500 children a day are dying in Iraq because of our embargo. The UN is embarrassed by the American power that it's...
What should the United States have done in response to Hussein's invasion of Kuwait?
That embargo is still working. There's a lot of things. The option was, you know, went down to the very day and boom, that was it. They couldn't wait. I mean, he wanted to go as soon as he you know, got the balance of power on his side.
You know how much I like this. Let me just stay with
you know,
it.
Where does this guy come from? You know, he came from the CIA. That's what he does for a living.
Our president. 1 year he was a director of the CIA. I mean, he came from a political background in Texas. His father was a senator from Connecticut. But I mean, your point is what? That
he's
1 year in the CIA.
He's a professional killer. That's what he did. George Bush. That's what he does for a living.
What do you mean? What do you mean he's a professional killer?
That's what he's done since he's been president of the United States. You know. wherever he wants it to work in his favor, that's what he's done. That's what he's done in the Gulf. That's what he's done in Central America. And that's what he's done everywhere he's moved, you know.
Most politicians supported the Persian Gulf War. Those that didn't were
after the
very
first shot
few.
was fired, yes, but not up until then. There were some very eloquent and some very extraordinary speeches of people in Congress.
Yeah, that was an extraordinary moment in our debate.
Until the first shot was fired, then nobody wanted the side.
Yeah, but those that didn't support the war, even before then, they were saying we would like to see the embargo work and give it a chance to work.
Yeah, never gave it a chance.
You know, but
never gave it a chance. He still expects the Iraqi people to topple Saddam Hussein. We don't even know where he is, but they're supposed to topple him.
Yeah.
And the embargo is
the
killing
Iraqi military to topple him.
You know, how the hell are they supposed to do it?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're stumbling over themselves, you know. Almost 500 children a day are dying with that policy in force. And the UN is embarrassed by it. The UN doesn't support that.
Doesn't support what?
The embargo. It's the United States that's forcing them to do it. The UN would lift that embargo tomorrow. If the United States said to lift it, they would. That's the power we have. And there's no one to checkmate us in any of this now.
Are we, Ronald Reagan described the Soviet Union as an evil empire. You think we're an evil empire?
Where's the empire?
Yeah, of the
Never mind the evil.
No, forget
Where's the empire?
I'm not talking about the Soviet Union. I'm talking about the United States. I mean, are we an evil nation, you think?
I think we have a lot to account for. Yeah, I think we're...
in terms of our role around the world.
I think we're good and decent people.
Yeah, but our government...
But I think our government is horribly corrupt, yeah. I really do. I don't see.
And what do you do, and me, and to change the government?
I pray. I demonstrate.
Yeah, you do. You're willing to go to jail
like
for
this.
Yeah, you do.
I would, yeah.
But also, you are you going to vote?
I love the country enough.
Yeah.
To protest and to speak the truth. Yeah. I'm not one of these my country right or wrong.
And this is.
I love it enough to tell it when it's wrong, like I love my children enough to tell them when they're wrong.
And is it a product of a post heart attack in the Philippines, Apocalypse Now? Was there? I mean, did that make a difference? Or did you feel this before? Because to understand you and a little bit about you, and having known you and discussed these things with you before, the feeling is that you were caught up in career primarily before the heart attack. I don't know if that was a decisive moment, right?
That's true. Well, it was a moment of life and death for me, and I decided to live and to get healthy. Yeah. And when I began to pull all the pieces together, because I was so fragmented, then I began to work in whatever area I chose as a whole. Whether I was an actor over here, I was still father, husband, Catholic, activist, whatever. And then when I'm at a demonstration over here, I'm still actor, Catholic, whatever I am. I'm not divided anymore.
But it brought you back to the church too, though.
Brought me back to the church eventually.
All right.
Yeah.
Martin Sheen
brought me back to the faith. I still have problems with the church. Thank God.
All right.
I think all Catholics have problems with the church.
We'll talk about the National Actors Theater established by Tony Randall and the Crucible, Martin Sheen starring along with Michael York when we come back. So, Martin Sheen is here. Let's talk about the National Theater for a second, too. John Proctor is probably, you have said, the one character in American literature that is most like me. I adore him for his humanity, for his shortcomings, for his willingness to risk his life. I love him for that. I mean, tell us who John Proctor is in the Crucible. A, based on the Salem witch trials in 1692, was it?
1692,
yeah. I mean, who was he, and why do you find so much in this guy that you identify with?
Well, I should say that I find the character, John Proctor, he's drawn from a real person who was hung for refusing to cooperate with the witch trials in 1692 in Salem. But it's the character that he's drawn from in the play, The Crucible, by Arthur Miller. Arthur Miller is really my hero, and I think he is John Proctor. Yeah. He wrote the play at the lowest time in his life.
House Un-American Activities.
House Un-American Activities had taken his passport away. He was betrayed by friends. He was blacklisted in his craft. And he went to Salem to investigate a time in America that was similar to the McCarthyism witch hunt. And he came up with The Crucible. I think it's his best play. He's one of my heroes. Yeah. And it is a part that I knew if I didn't play now, I probably wouldn't get a chance in the future.
Did you say you should have done it 15 years ago?
I should have, yeah. Now, Proctor's about 35. I had more energy
You're
then.
51 now?
I'm 51, yeah.
Miller, I guess when they told Miller that it was going to be you, he supposedly leapt into the air and said, "This is perfect." I mean, he saw you. He said he did. He saw you as Proctor.
I love him. He's really one of my heroes.
Has he been there when you?
He came to see one of the previews, and his remark to me was that I'll be pretty good once I learn my lines. And I should have.
One of the critics said
him,
something about that. Yeah.
Yes, that was right. I took it to heart. Who was that? Rich. Said,
yeah, Frank Rich said
I didn't read the whole.
It didn't seem like you knew your lines.
Well, he was right.
Kind
I
of
was
fundamental for an actor, isn't it?
Fundamental. No, he got me. He had me dead to right. He said some other thing. I didn't read the whole review, but I asked my wife, Janet, to read his criticism of me to me, just so I'd know where the tomatoes came from. And I took it to heart. He said some honest things about me.
He's a brilliant critic.
Well, I don't know how brilliant he is. I would take exception with his reference to my looking like Daniel Boone, because I don't think he has a first-hand honest reference. So he loses credibility when he becomes a smartass.
You mean he didn't know what Daniel Boone looked like, so therefore...
I assume he couldn't.
Yeah.
You know. So
since he never met Daniel Boone.
Yeah, he loses his credibility when he gets cute and he gets mean.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be mean because he's too bright. I don't know the man, but that's the only time he loses credibility. What he said about me, I would take to heart, and I'd say he's absolutely right.
And what are you getting out of playing this part?
A lot of discipline.
What?
I love playing it. It's an opportunity to go in places inside myself where I can unite a lot of the things that I feel about social issues and a lot of my own pain, and I can walk around in that spot and do it in a sacramental kind of way, because that's what acting is to me, really. It's an opportunity to meditate, to pray, if you will. I know it sounds highfalutin, but I think of it that way. It's a very sacred time for me. And so,
you came here when you were, what, 18 years old?
Yeah.
And went to the Living Theater?
I started with the Living Theater.
Yeah, you were the guy that opened the curtains?
Yeah, I did, yeah. Judith Molina and Julian Beck were my first teachers. God rest Julian's dead now, but Judith is still alive. I saw her recently.
To be a good actor, not even great, let's say. Let's leave great to a very few, and whoever they are. What do you have to do? What do you have to be? What do you have to, you know?
I think you have to be smart enough to know that the most important thing you need is your intelligence. You have to be smart enough to know that you should be healthy, you should be bright, you should be in control of yourself.
And about vulnerability.
You should be vulnerable. You should be aware of who you are. You should be able to identify yourself so that no one else can identify you. If you're not willing to identify yourself, there are a lot of folks out there that will identify you. And so I think that's the primary resource of an actor is his self-identification. You can't, for example, to play ill, you must be well. You know, if you're already sick, it's not acting. You know, acting is not an accident. It's something you do on purpose. You make it look like an accident because you're in control of it, and it's a choice. But it's a very risky business, and it's a very important one, and a very sacred one. I know that actors that take it seriously agree with that, although I don't know if the public would. But I love actors. I think they're great.
And you don't really care much about Hollywood.
Oh, I care about it. Hollywood's been very good to me, very tolerant as well.
Yeah, but you call it a sleazy place, too.
It is a sleazy place. You've seen most of the films that they do.
Well, but why
It's a business.
Yeah.
It's a business.
Yeah. You know? Why haven't you done more better films? I mean, you know, Apocalypse Now and Badlands is about the only two that you...
Two really important films.
Yeah.
You have to call them important films. And they were the best work I did on film, I think.
Yeah.
You
haven't seen good roles? I mean, if people don't offer you good roles?
I had a lot of offers, particularly after Apocalypse Now, because that gave me a worldwide exposure. I refused a lot of them. I wouldn't do any violent roles after that, overtly violent. I didn't want to be involved in doing things that I couldn't take my kids to see or that I wouldn't be proud of, you know. And so I didn't do any of those kinds of roles.
It says something very good about you, that your kids have essentially turned out to be, good actors. And
they're great kids, too.
And great kids, yeah.
And I've been very fortunate with
Or it says something about
children.
your wife, maybe.
A lot about my wife, yeah, you bet. Janet, a very special lady. We were married 30 years last week. You know, I came here last week. I thought I was supposed to do the show.
No, I called you up and said, you got to do the show. And I said, how about the 23rd? And you said, I can't do it. I said, how about the 30th? And you said, I'll be there. And then they tell me I'm on the air. And they said, Martin is downstairs wanting on. Thank you.
Oh,
Pleasure.
thank you very much. Good
Nice
to see you again.
Martin Sheen at the Crucible at the National Actors Theater. You'll be there for a while. Thank you for being with us.
We close January 5th.
You close on the 5th, so you'll be there until January 5th.
But then a little hotel on the side opens with Tony and Rob Lowe and Lynn Redgrave.
That's what Repertory Theater is about. Thank you for being with us tonight. It's a pleasure. We'll get all these technical things worked out, and I thank you for joining us. It's New Year coming.